Hi, this is Claire Parsons. This is a guided meditation to help you resolve a conflict. So you're in a conflict, and you'd like to resolve it. You've been fighting and disputing, perhaps justifiably. But you want to transition to something new. Fighting is hard. It's time-consuming. It takes a lot of energy. It's risky in some cases. You want to find an amicable resolution to the problem to put an end to the fighting. Albert Einstein says, we can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. It takes a different skill set to work for peace than it does to fight, even if it's for yourself or someone else. So let's rest those fighting skills. We don't have to throw them away. Just give them a break for a while. Let's let the dust settle and see if we see things any more clearly. Start by getting yourself comfortable. Find a comfortable seat, or lie down even if you prefer. Check in with yourself, starting with your body. Check in at your brow and your jaw. Look for any tension there. It's normal to wrinkle your brow when you're thinking about a problem. It's normal to clench your jaw when you get into arguments with people. Check in and release tension if you are able to. Next, move on to your neck and shoulders and release any tension there. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears and just relax them. Now moving in to your chest and belly area, find your breath wherever you feel it the strongest. Feel the breath coming in and feel it let go when the breath goes out. Let's try that again and see if we can take the breath a little bit deeper. In, hold it, and release. Let's try that one more time. In, hold, and release. Now that you've settled in a little bit, call to mind the conflict that you would like to resolve. Try to avoid getting into the story of the conflict, but think about the nature of the dispute that you're in. Bring it to mind. If you have any storylines that seem to be emerging on their own, see if you can trace that without getting embroiled in it. If you have any emotional reactions to it, if you notice anything in your chest, or you notice your face flush, or you notice you breathe a little bit faster, or hold your breath, notice that. Just see what happens when you bring the conflict to mind. Starting with your side of the story, think of why you want to resolve the conflict. Bring to mind the interest at stake and how a resolution would achieve those interests. Notice when we're thinking about interests in this context, not talking about the arguments you might make to get those interests, but the interests themselves. What is it you're really looking for? What is it that a resolution would bring you? Now, on the other hand, think about the potential risks or the problems that could arise if a resolution is not reached. What happens if the situation is not resolved? How are you affected? How is your side put at any kind of disadvantage if there is no resolution and the fighting continues? Now, from your perspective, consider what the challenges or obstacles to a resolution might be. Is there a relationship deficit between the two sides? Is there information you don't have? Is there control you lack? Are there any difficult parties or conflicts within your own side? Think about those obstacles and how they could affect the situation. Now, as you've thought about your own side, if you notice any emotional reactions to any of this, that's normal. Just note what's there. Let it be there. Now bring to mind the other side on this dispute. Oftentimes when we're fighting, we focus on our side. It's often not until we can consider the side of the other party that we can find a resolution. So bring to mind the interests at stake for the other party. And think of how a resolution would achieve those interests for them. If you don't know all those interests, you're not sure, just be aware of that. That could be useful information to seeking a resolution. And next, as you did with yourself or your side, think about the problems or the risk that the other party faces if they don't resolve the problem. Could anything bad happen for them? Think about it from their viewpoint. And finally, think about the challenges the other party may face in getting to a resolution. What might get in their way? What maybe don't they know? What don't they understand? What difficulties do they have? Bring those to mind. Now, if it feels at all to you that things between these two parties are very locked down, reflect on the fact that there could be possibilities that change that. Just consider whether there's the possibility that one or both sides don't actually know everything that could affect a resolution. That one or both sides may not see or appreciate everything in terms of their significance regarding a possible resolution. And of course, there may be the possibility that one or both sides may change. Are you open to these possibilities? If not, can you just notice that you have some resistance with respect to accepting those possibilities? In the midst of these two diverging sides and the potential for these other open possibilities, the object would be to forge a path forward. Can you see that path? If you see it, what does it look like? How does a resolution feel? What does it entail? Can you visualize a peaceful solution to this conflict? If you can't see a path forward, can you open to the possibility that one might emerge, even if it isn't clear sitting here right now? As an example, even if you can't see a resolution right now, did considering the situation in a new way help you come to any new insights or notice anything that maybe you didn't notice before? Thinking about a conflict and thinking about ways to resolve a conflict should make one thing fairly clear. It's a difficult process. When people or sides are locked in dispute, it can be hard to transition to peace. It might be impossible to forget things in the past, or scary to trust another side that you may feel has wronged you. That's normal and human. Bring yourself to mind right now and give yourself credit for undertaking this hard work. Acknowledge yourself for making an effort in this process. Acknowledge the courage and patience it takes to try to find a resolution. Now think about the other side in this dispute, this party with whom you've been fighting. Think about the effort that they are making. Consider the fact that it may be hard for them to trust you or your side. And give them some acknowledgement for at least attempting a resolution. If this is at all difficult for you, that's okay. You're only human. At least you know that resistance is there, so you can hopefully make a wiser decision as you work in the future to seek a resolution with this person. It is not always possible to resolve every dispute, but it is always worth it to strive for peace. I hope you bring kindness and generosity and clear eyes to this situation. Whether you are successful or not in resolving the conflict that brought you here today, know that you have at least tried to create more peace in the world.